guys, today's video is just a little chatty get ready with me for my birthday. I was going to film this on my actual birthday. We had dinner plans, but what happened is my poor puppy got sick and we didn't want to leave her. So I had a very chill birthday, but tonight we are going to see Spider-Man at midnight. It's the latest we've been out in a really long time, so I do have something to get ready for. I came up with 31 random facts about myself because I just turned 31. Don't worry, I won't just be talking about myself. I also have some new makeup to play with. I just got this about a month ago and I have been dying to play with this. It feels like forever that I've been waiting to get my hands on this. This is the Gemini Palette from Melt, and today I'm going to be sticking in with more of the neutral kind of shades. I have swatched these once already. I had that over on my Instagram, but the green shades I will be saving for a later video. I'm going to be following one of my favorite YouTubers videos next week. If you've been watching me for a while, you can probably figure out who that is. So let's go ahead and just jump right in. As always, I already have my brows done just to save me a little bit of time, and some concealer on my lids for a little bit of a base. I'm going to start with this Luna shade right here. If I forget to mention a product, I of course will have it listed down below. So I'm going to start with this little brush from Spectrum. It is the B06. I'm at the point right now where I am just hating my bangs. I am trying to grow them out and they're getting so long. For anyone who may ask, Lucy is doing, she's feeling fine. She's acting normal, but the vet thinks she may have a little bit of an upper respiratory infection, so she is on antibiotics currently. So hopefully everything's cleared up soon. Just keeping this pretty casual today. I may do lashes, I may not. So first fun fact is I didn't get my license till I was 23. I was absolutely terrified to drive. Anybody else late bloomers there? I was so afraid of getting in a car accident and getting hurt or hurting somebody else. It's a very real responsibility that I was very aware of, and it took me so long to actually get it. I mean, I passed all my tests the first time around. I think I actually failed my license one time getting my driver's license. I failed it once. I think it was with parallel parking. Ooh, that's a bitch. I still can't parallel park, but I did for the test. It did also take me probably another 3 years to actually drive on the Beltway. That was another big fear of mine. But now I do everything. I still can't park for shit, but other than that, I think I'm a pretty decent driver. But it did take me a little while to actually get my license. I'm gonna go in with this Lorelei shade next. It's really cool, like a burnt orange kind of color, almost mustardy. Next fact would be is that I totally believe in ghosts. I'm all about ghost stories, but I believe them to be true in real life. I can't actually see ghosts, I don't think. I've been in situations where people next to me have seen or felt them, and I don't think I can, even though I'm totally open to it. I actually am going to be talking to a medium fairly soon. My mom's been talking to this woman who has just said some crazy things about people who have passed in our family, and there's just so many connections there. Even though I've never personally seen a ghost, I just know too many people who have or who've had weird encounters to just ignore it. I will say, when I was, I guess in my late teens, early 20s, my boyfriend at the time, his best friend passed away, and there's this crazy thing, I still have it on my phone. We were taking pictures where he passed, unfortunately. I know that kind of sounds morbid, but a couple friends took pictures and sent them around, and you can literally see his face in these photos. I still have it on my phone. It is so creepy. I've just, like I said, I've seen way too many things to ignore it. Let me know what you guys think. Do you believe in ghosts? If you've had any strange encounters, I would love to know about them. I just kind of took over that Luna shade while I was talking, but I really like this shade. It's really cool. This next one is pretty crazy, and it is one that I am very thankful for. I know how lucky I am. I was born with Spina Bifida, and if you don't know what that is, basically it is a birth defect where the spine hasn't formed the way that it's supposed to, and there's different levels of it. There's different levels of severity depending on where it is located on the spine. Mine is the very small of my back. I haven't really had any issues from it. The only thing that I do have is a large scar on the small of my back, which I used to be very insecure about when I was growing up, and now it's a part of me. It reminds me of how lucky I am. You know, scars have a story. I was also born premature, 2 months premature. So there was a lot of health concerns regarding my birth. And I'm very fortunate that I have not had any issues. Also, one that I could kind of lump in there, Ben Carson, a famous surgeon turned politician, is the surgeon who operated on me when I was born, and he saved my life. I think I was something like 4 pounds when I was born, and then I lost a pound, which is nuts. My uncle says he could fit me in the palm of his hand. Very small baby. And then the next one would be, even though I am the clumsiest, especially when I was growing up, I used to fall down the steps. I used to fall up the steps. I was always tripping on something. And as an adult, I'd still say I'm pretty clumsy. I run into a lot of things. But even with that, I have never broken anything. Knock on wood. I'm going to deepen this up a little bit, starting with Cupcake, and then I will move to the next one. Nope, I'm going to start with Polka Dot and then move to Cupcake, which is the deeper brown. This one I've definitely said, my husband and I, George, we met on Tinder. So happy I swiped right. We have a sign that says that. We also have a mug that says that. I think it's pretty cool that we met on there. Like before we got together and moved in together, we probably lived, I guess, about a half an hour from each other, and we probably wouldn't have met otherwise. We didn't have any mutual friends, so thank you, Tinder. And just doing a little blending. So far, these shadows are really nice. There's not a ton of kick up. I have 11 tattoos. I had to count when I was writing that down. I just kind of forget. I have plans for several more. I haven't had one in 2 years. It's been a minute. It is high time. My last tattoo that I got is probably my favorite that I have. I never had a favorite tattoo before this one, but I have Lucy on my thigh, and in that I also have the Bowie bolt. I'll put a picture here. It is by far my favorite tattoo. It makes me smile whenever I see it. I love when she's laying on my lap and her little face is right next to me. It looks exactly like her. I'm still thinking about getting Smoke Sessions because a lot of people say that's a good companion palette to this palette. There's a lot of shimmer in that one. I'm so happy they came to Sephora. Have you guys tried anything else from Melt? The other thing I really want to try is their highlighters. They are just so pretty. They have some kind of something pressed into the actual highlight. Can't remember if it's like words or if it's a design, but it's very pretty looking. I think like most people, I struggle with certain words. I never actually thought that I had any difficulty talking or speaking until I started a YouTube channel, because there's just days where I will get tripped up on the same word over and over again. But there's some words that I just pronounce wrong. I know how to pronounce them correctly, and I can't get my head around them. So the biggest one that I do this with is mannerisms. George always makes fun of me because I say it like aneurysms. I can't help myself. It's what comes out of my mouth. This is just a little cheapy brush. It's from A Rose Beauty. I don't know if that's still available on Amazon. It came as a set. I use these little brushes all the time. So I'm going to take that Cupcake shade and just deepen this up a little bit. So the next one, and I mean, you guys don't really see me from the full body a lot unless you like go on Instagram or I'm doing a vlog. I have pretty big hips. I've always had a very like pear kind of shape. I used to be a little bit more hourglass when I was heavier because I just had bigger boobs than I do now. So now I'd say I'm more of a pear than hourglass. But I got some hips. I've always had a really thin waist and big hips, and it took me some time to actually grow into them. So when I was in school, I got teased a lot for my hips. It definitely gave me a complex. I guess I was probably like in 6th or 7th grade, and when I look back at my photos, it's just all hips and nothing else. I guess I just kind of had to grow into them. I didn't have a lot on the upper. I didn't really have thighs yet. I just had these huge hips, and yeah, I got teased for it. I also got teased for my nose quite a bit as well. I still have a little bit of a complex about that. Blending that one out. It's 9 o'clock at night. I don't know if I've ever filmed this late. I kind of like it. It's quiet. I don't have to worry about lawnmowers or kids running outside. I am going to clean up the sides with a makeup wipe, but before I'm going to do that, I am going to cut my crease. And so far from the mattes, I have not had any fallout, so we will see about the shimmer shade in here. And this is the Spectrum A16. It's the only brush that I use for this. It's just so perfect to get into tight spaces, but it's dense enough that it really picks up the concealer. So I'm going to try Gemini just on my fingertip. Okay, next one is I am a huge film buff. I love movies. I just watched like 6 over the weekend. That's all we did for my birthday was watch movies. I am obsessed with IMDb. What I was going to do before this channel was watch all of the top 250 of the IMDb movies and do a channel about it and talk about it and review those movies. I still kind of want to do that. My husband and I had talked about it a little bit. There is something... Go away. It's not picking up a lot just with my fingertip, which is weird. Maybe I have to kind of dig in a little bit. But yes, obsessed with movies and IMDb. I can usually get about, I'd say 10 minutes into a movie before I start looking something up. I'm always like, hey, I know that person. I wonder what movie they're in, and I kind of just go down the rabbit hole. I love reading facts on IMDb. I always do it after every movie. So it's picking up a lot more now. I think I kind of had to dig my finger in a little bit, not too hard because I of course don't want to destroy my palette, but just a little bit just to get off whatever that top layer was. I noticed that too when I was doing the swatches. It's a pretty like peachy kind of shade though. So my favorite movies, which would be my next fact, would be Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. I just rewatched that. I actually think soon I'm gonna try to do some kind of regular video series, that's the word I was looking for, where I am combining makeup and film. I have a couple ideas, so look forward to that soon, I think at the end of the month. But Eternal Sunshine's one of my favorites. Big Fish, I also love The Crow. I have seen that movie a million times. And Clockwork Orange. Those would be my favorites. Just trying to get a little bit closer up in here. To wet my brush, I am using this from Colourpop. It's the All-Star Face Setting Spray. It's a matte setting spray, and I'm not really into matte. So this is how I've been trying to use it up. And then just with my finger, I'm taking a little bit of Cupcake just to kind of meet that edge and blend it together. Yeah, the shimmer shade's just, it's taken a minute. I wonder if the green one in here is going to be the same. My next one would be my nickname. It's Killa K. I have several friends that call me that. I also, what's funny is because Two of my friends called me Kayla, and they don't know each other. I think they do now. They've met, but two separate friend groups started calling me Kayla K. So that is my nickname. In fact, when I started my series for my monthly favorites, my thrillers and killers, I was gonna call them thrillers and killers, but I was like, you're too old for that. You don't go there. The most satisfying, I know it's kind of cheating, but it's what I do, so I think I'm gonna add these lashes next. This is Faux Mink from Ardell. I haven't tried these before. I've tried other ones from Ardell. So while that glue is drying, I'm gonna go ahead and do my face. I probably won't do like a heavy wing liner, but I think I'm gonna do just like a little bit of shadow to kind of cover that band. But I'm gonna go ahead and get into my primer, taking some of my Milk Hydro Grip. So my next one, which was also related to names, my channel name, which I don't think I've ever said, my maiden name is Kramer. So Remark is Kramer spelled backwards, and that's where it comes from. It's it's not a palindrome, it's palindrome spelled backwards. It's called a Immorthnipolap. I can't even say it. Immortalap. That's what it's called. So yeah, that's where my name comes from, and it was actually my Twitter handle and my Instagram username. It's been that, I think, since I've had both of those. So it was only natural because I would be talking and remarking on beauty products. It just kind of fit. This primer is tacky, like in the best kind of way, like you know your foundation's gonna stick to it. And then my other favorite primer, I love this so much, it's the smoothing primer from Tarte. You only need the teensiest bit. It is expensive. I think it's almost $40. You just need a tiny bit, and I'm gonna put that right in my creasy areas and my areas that are problematic with pores. I'm using a new foundation today, so I wanted to stick to primers and powders that I've used several times. My favorite food is rice, just rice, any kind of rice, I don't care. Getting into foundation, I hate tomatoes. That is the one food. I'm not really a picky eater. There's a couple things I don't really love, but tomatoes are the one thing I will not eat. They taste like dirt. Fight me on that. I do not like them. I never use this, so I wanted to use this. This is one of those products that I was like dying to get my hands on. It was always out of stock on Sephora, and I always kind of forget to use it. So this, I think it's in the fair shade, whatever the lightest shade is. And the way that I used it the couple times that I did is I just put it like on the high points of my face before foundation. I do believe you can also use it afterwards too. Put a little bit on my chin. I don't know if it's really gonna pick up on camera at all, but I remember it does give a beautiful glow. I have a new sponge here, and they're always kind of annoying when they're so new. They're almost like too firm almost. You see that? So pretty. I want to do like a summer dewy skin kind of tutorial. If you guys want to see that, let me know. And sticking with the food theme, I do not eat anything with a bone in it. Like I won't eat chicken wings or fried chicken. I have to take it off of the bone, ribs, anything like that, even though I don't eat that much. The bone disgusts me. I will not eat it. So for foundation, I know that's quite the transition. I have the Pure 4-in-1 Love Your Selfie foundation. I have mine in the shade LP4. I swatched this in store in Ulta, and it seemed to be a perfect match for me. I'm gonna start with 2 pumps. This is a very dirty Sigma 3D HD Kabuki brush. I need to wash my brushes so bad. It's not like the fullest coverage, which I like. I have so much skin texture right now, just like little whiteheads. I don't know what's causing it. So that's the first thing I'm seeing when I'm putting this on, but it's a really good shade match. Curious to see how this holds up to me stuffing my face with popcorn. Oh, I love popcorn. I have no hidden talents, like I can't do anything crazy except that my thumbs, I guess they're double jointed. I'm not going to do it because it freaks some people out, but I can twist them backwards and I can also kind of pop them out, but I won't do it. I won't freak you out. I like the coverage of this foundation. I'm curious to see how it's going to wear. And then for my forehead and my nose, I'm going to use the sponge. Just because I have dry skin, I prefer to use the sponge on my forehead so it doesn't flake up any bits. This is really pretty. I really haven't tried anything from Pure. This might be my first product aside from samples. I'm building this up just a tiny bit on my cheeks where I have some redness coming through. I did also buy a pair of their lashes, but I haven't tried them yet. Can you see how I still have a little bit of the glow from the Charlotte Tilbury Flawless Filter? Stuff's really cool, I just kind of forget to use it. Okay, next one is if I had a superpower, I think it would be to, I would say read minds, but I think I'm just way too sensitive for that. Even though it would be really cool, the one I think that would be super helpful in personal situations, but also like you could do big things with it, you could make a huge impact, would be able to freeze time like Piper on Charmed. What would your superhero power be? Flying would also not suck. That's a good one for my next one. So also, when I was younger, I won't say which friend because I don't want to embarrass her, but when I was, I mean, pretty young, we weren't teenagers, we were fairly young, we've been friends for a really long time. We used to play shows and we would play different characters, so we always played Charmed. I was always Piper and she was Phoebe. We had a couple of them we played, but that was the one we most often did. We would do like crazy, like just the weirdest stuff. Like we would go through the Delia's catalog and we would pick out outfits for our characters and then play them. I don't even remember what we would do, but we had very active imaginations, I guess you could say. Do you guys have anything similar you did when you were younger? I mean, you do. We all did something. I also would line up all my stuffed animals and teach them when I was really young. I've always liked to teach. I'm going to take my little eye definer brush, what is this called? Flat definer brush from Sigma, and just go back and forth between Cupcake and the black shade, which is Bonnie, and cover up a little bit of this lash glue. Sweep some of this away. Next one would be, I'm obsessed with my dog. If you've been watching me, you probably already know that. I love her so much. She's my best friend. She's my little buddy. This is just the free little brush I got for becoming Sephora VIB Rouge, but I use it a lot for my under eye to like sweep away any kind of setting powder. I'm gonna get into some bronzer next. What did I bring over? I try to bring things that I just haven't touched in a while. So this is the Too Faced Milk Chocolate Bronzer. Gonna make me hungry again. It smells like hot chocolate, like Swiss Miss when you open up the pouch. That's exactly what it smells like. I love all pizza, but I prefer white pizza to regular pizza. I'll still eat regular pizza, any kind of tomato sauce, spaghetti sauce, but I just prefer white pizza. It's like a big old cheese stick. It's my favorite. How much I like the tone of this bronzer. I have no musical talent whatsoever. I wish I did. I tried to play, well, I took like 3 years of guitar. I still have 2 of them. I have an acoustic and electric guitar, and I haven't picked them up in probably 10 years. I really would love to kind of reteach myself, but I have no, like, I'm not just musically inclined. Like, it's really challenging for me to learn. My brother, I remember, just picked up my guitar and started playing one day, and so did, I think, an ex-boyfriend just picked my guitar up and started playing. I couldn't do that. It took me years. The only song that I really remember being good at playing was Redemption Song, and I think that's probably a pretty easy song to learn. I also played flute when I was very young, and it was to the point, like, I was so bad. I also had asthma. I've kind of outgrown that as I've gotten older. I haven't used an inhaler in 20 years, but I did attempt flute when I was a kid, and I think the next year I was recommended to go into chorus because I wasn't very good at it. Next, I think I want a little pop of color. I haven't used this yet. It's Get Laid. It's one of the Super Shock blushes from Colourpop. My lips are going to be pretty neutral, so I just want a little pop of color. And besides having no musical talent, one of the things I always wished I could do is sing. I can't. I don't really have a very good voice. I can kind of like sing along to certain songs, but I've always wished that I had a good voice. When I was a kid, I would write songs, which later turned more into poetry. I haven't written any kind of poetry in a very long time, but I've always had a way with words, you could say, but I never had the voice to go with it, and I always wish that I could sing. So I'm going to stamp this on just with my sponge, but I'm going to start small. From what I remember, they have like the weirdest putty kind of texture. From what I remember, they go on better with a sponge versus a brush. Going back to movies a little bit, I was a Twi-hard. I was obsessed with Twilight. I remember at the time when it started to get really popular, I think the first movie was coming out, I was watching True Blood, and I was obsessed with True Blood, and I was like, I already have my vampire show that I watch. I don't really care about these. And then I was gifted, I think, book 1 and 2 for Christmas, and I read them in just a couple days. And then when the first movie came out, I remember being so disappointed because it sucked so bad. But then I learned to love it. It has its own charm. And some of them are better than others. I think the Eclipse movie is the best of the films, even though that wasn't my favorite book. But yeah, I could have told you everything about Twilight at one point, about Robert Pattinson. I was totally Team Edward. I'm still Team Edward. I'm really excited to see what he does with Batman. Let's add some highlight. I have Champagne Pop from Becca. I felt like I needed this just because it's a classic. I just got it, I think maybe the beginning of this year, maybe a little bit sooner than that. And I really haven't reached for it much. My old man crush is Jeremy Irons. I don't know how old he is now. He's probably 70s, getting into his 80s. Let's look it up. 80s. I wasn't being very fair to him. He's 70 years old. I think he's so hot. I think it started with Man in the Iron Mask when I was younger. Oh, I forgot how pigmented that is. I think it started with Man in the Iron Mask when I was a kid. If I remember to, I will leave you guys an update on this foundation. If not, just ask and I will certainly do that. Alright, I'm going to finish off the rest of my under eye and liner, mascara, all that good stuff. Actually, I think I'm going to take some of the Champagne Pop and just put it into my inner corner. Taking Cupcake first, which is the darker brown. I cut my bangs when I was younger. I remember it very specifically. I was at my grandfather's house for the weekend, and a family member on that side was having a Christmas party, and I really wanted to have my hair cut beforehand, and for whatever reason my aunt couldn't get me there to have it done, and being a snotty teenager, I was like, well, whatever, I'm gonna do it myself. And I literally cut them like this, which now, I mean, it's kind of what I have now, but it wasn't good. It was all the way up. Some of them were really short. Probably would have been really cute now, but I remember I had to wear one of those like circular headbands with the teeth on them for months. Like my first dance that I ever had, my first kiss I ever had, there's a picture with me and that gentleman, and I had one of those in. it haunted me, and that's why I will not fuck with my hair now, because I scarred myself for life. I don't even try to cut my own bangs. I have friends that do their own, and I'm scared. I'm going to mostly use Lorelei under the eye. I just really love this shade. For liner, I'm just going to be using one of my favorites from Milk. This just stays on the waterline really well. And it's very comfy to put on. It just glides. And I also have the Kush mascara sitting here. I've never been one for sports. I did play soccer when I was younger, but that's right about the time that I started developing asthma, so I couldn't play anymore. I did also dance, and I loved dancing. I would love to find some kind of adult dance group that I could do maybe once a week. In the classes I took a little bit of everything. I never really did a lot of ballet or tap though. I did mostly, I think it was jazz, modern, and hip hop were the three that I took every year. So I have a couple Irrational Fears, one of them being Tim Curry. I'm not going to put his picture up or anything because I don't really even want to look at him. I don't know, though I've kind of narrowed it down. One of my favorite movies when I was younger was Home Alone, and he was in the second one. I don't think he was a bad guy, but I think I was just probably scared of him for some reason, and I still don't like to look at him. If he comes on screen, he's in so many movies. If he comes on screen, I kind of have to look away, which is really, it's hard because I really want to see Rocky Horror Picture Show. I know it's such like a big cult movie, and I can't bring myself to watch it. I hate his voice. It's just haunting to me. No offense, Tim Curry. I'm sure he's a very nice person. I can't look at his face. I still really like the way the foundation's going. I still have a little bit of creasing right here, which is so normal for me. I'm just gonna... Oh, my next one, while I'm deciding on my lip color, I have so many different lip colors to use. My childhood crush, speaking of Home Alone, was Macaulay Culkin. And I remember that being from Home Alone, and Richie Rich was the other movie that I watched all the time. And then when I got older, I saw My Girl. I don't remember ever crying so much from a movie. I cry all the time in movies, but literally the last half an hour of that movie, I just bawl my eyes out. I can't watch that movie. So this is Naked 2 lip pencil from Urban Decay. I bought a lipstick from them. Where is it? It's Stark Naked. They were out of this lip liner, but I think they're gonna go just fine together. So my drink of choice, I always try to talk into my lips at the same time, knowing full well that I cannot. My drink of choice is a whiskey sour if I'm out, because I tend to drink it kind of slow. If at home, I am a wine drinker though. I just won't drink it out because I will drink it way too fast. And then going in with the Stark Naked, my middle name is Rose. Kayla Rose. I've always really liked my name. This is a pretty like peachy nude for me kind of shade. These feel really creamy. I actually don't own any of these. I have some lip glosses here. I have from Colourpop. I think I used this already, the Glass Lip. This one I have not used. This is Beauty Boss lip gloss from Stila, the Golden Parachute. I do have Pink Slip, which I have used, but I'll use just a little bit of this one in the center. And then just setting everything with setting spray. I'm gonna use 2 Catrice Prime and Fine. I'm almost out of this guy. I have to restock. Take these guys out. So my last one, I wanted to leave it on a happy note. I just pulled like 5 of my hairs out. My last one, I wanted to leave it on a happy note. So my favorite feeling in the entire world is when you laugh at yourself, when no one else is around. I think when we laugh a lot of the times, it's to let the person you're talking to know that you think they're funny. It's something we do without thinking. And when you do it just by yourself, whether you just think a funny thought and you just bust out laughing all alone, it's one of my favorite feelings. It always warms my heart. So here is the completed look. Let me fix my hair. It's fun. I had fun with this little palette, and thank you guys for getting ready with me. I have about an hour left till we go see Spider-Man. Hopefully I can stay up for the whole thing. I did take a little bit of a nap. Anyway, I hope this video wasn't too weird or too random. I just thought it would be fun to share a little bit. Let me know some random facts about you guys below. You don't have to leave me like your deepest, darkest secrets, but maybe leave me some facts about yourself that most people don't expect from you. Maybe a couple unusual things, or maybe even weird. We are all weird in our own way, and it's a wonderful thing. Anyway, if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. If you really enjoyed this video and you haven't yet already, please go ahead and subscribe. I thank you so much for watching. I appreciate you, and I will see you soon.